Good morning, beautiful people. It is Friday, December 20th, 2019, and although I am in a raggedy, dungy conference room in Boca Raton, Florida, the boys are back in Indianapolis, Indiana, and we got a great show for you today. Hall of Famer Andre Reed will join us in the second hour. I watched a little bit of the basketball last night. Things were heated in the Rockets-Clippers game. The LA Lakers took on the Milwaukee Bucks. I think Giannis, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis hate each other. We'll talk about that and much, much more. We have 6 sexy bets from our friend at Tone Diggs. We have a Flashback Friday franchise changes with Frank Morano, and I, for the first time in this show's history, will be answering questions that I seek on other shows. Zito's filling in for Foxy behind the board because Foxy's sitting right here behind this camera I'm talking into. Boys, let's have a show. Zito, play some Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for mental vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
I did it.
Yes, it is Chase Rice, you handsome son-bitch. He's on tour currently, and if he's in your town, go check him out. I think he's writing a new album. I am not in the room, but in the room currently, sitting on the chatting couch, a man from Boston, big Celtics fan, big NBA fan, Mr. Connor Campbell. How are you doing, fella?
I'm doing fantastic. Love to see Giannis take the crown from LeBron last night. Gotta love the NBA. It's back.
The NBA does feel like it's all the way back. Ratings are down, ticket sales are down, but the entertainment is at an all-time high. I don't think I've actually sat through and wanted to watch an NBA game for a long time. Last night, I watched the replay of that thing at ESPN because Foxy and I got back from WWE here in Boca Raton at like 2 a.m. We're on about 3 hours of sleep. Seems to be a standard thing here. But they ran a replay of that Lakers-Bucks game late night. Woo! Giannis with the thing, he's putting a crown on himself. And then after the game, not only was Giannis getting loose from beyond the arc, by the way, good for him figuring out how to shoot the deep ball. Very deep ball, by the way, with a 7-foot guy with a unibrow hand in his face. Just buckets and buckets and buckets. But after the game, they asked Anthony Davis and LeBron James about the game. And they go, how do you feel about Giannis? If he's able to shoot like this, do you think that team's stoppable? And LeBron just did like this. And then Anthony Davis was like, well, you got to tip your cap to him. So you could see that Frank Vogel sent a message to that entire team like, hey, this is a night where you just got to tip your cap to Giannis. And it wasn't like a complimentary tip of the cap. It was like, tonight was an anomaly. It's a bunch of BS. We don't think that'll ever happen again. And Giannis, on the complete flip side, after the game, was getting interviewed, and he was like, I can't do a Greek accent. Like, I wish I could, because that accent is a beautiful one, and I think he's going to be a monster in the sports world for a long time. So maybe that's something Ty should work on for a little bit, because he's probably going to be a figure we're going to want to talk about for a long time. This guy is a freak, literally and figuratively Greek freak. But he does the whole thing where he's like, I wasn't the first pick of the draft. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm just trying to get better and better. And that whole thing, it seems like he has a real chip on his shoulder. And damn, if you're that big, that athletic, and that hungry, you're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Also, don't undersell how important George Hill is. Indianapolis native George Hill has a McAfee jersey. I have a George Hill jersey when he played for the Pacers. Big fan of him. He's been around. He's there. Good veteran leadership. That team looked good, and I enjoyed watching that. And on the flip side, Connor, that Rockets-Clippers game got ugly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're talking about two players getting ejected, Connor. That's good for basketball.
Oh, yeah. Pat Beverly and Russell Westbrook, one of the best rivalries in the NBA right now. I mean, anytime a couple guys are getting teed up and tossed out of a ball game, it's always good for the sport.
I agree. I think that's good for the sport. I think because the flopping mentality has kind of taken over the NBA, right? Oh, they're all soft. Tim Donaghy, the refs are calling games, they're ruining games. Now there's a little bit of a scrap, there's a little bit of love. I love Russell Westbrook, but I know some people don't like him. I love Russell Westbrook. I don't care if I'm in Boca Raton, Florida, or Indianapolis, Indiana, or any town in between. By the way, Boca Raton is way down here, by the way. Way down here. Diggs. It is way down here.
Like Miami down there?
Bro, it was a 3-hour flight to get down here last night.
Goodness.
3 hours. We hopped on a plane in Westchester, New York. I guess is where all the yuppies live, by the way. I guess everybody that lives in New York City or works in New York City that's wealthy lives in Westchester County is what I've been told. We landed in the airport there, drove to Stamford, did some stuff with WWE. It was awesome. That'll be rolling out here in the next couple of weeks. Interesting setup. I don't know if I was built for the setup it was, but I tried to make the most of it. Then we hop on a plane. We get to the plane, and it ran long. And they're like, I'm like, how long is this flight going to be? They're like 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm like, where are we going? Cuba. Are we going to Cuba? And it turns out, damn near Cuba. Zito, we saw Cuba on the plane map as we were coming down.
Beautiful island.
Well, I mean, a lot of people would argue that place not great for a long time, but I think the weather, and we actually talked about this while we were landing sideways last night. We came in sideways last night. I don't know how the guy did it. I mean, it was a beautiful landing, but I thought we were dead again. But we saw Cuba on the map, and we're like, you know what? We want to take Zito to Cuba one time and experience it. We just thought about you with a big ass cigar, just like
drinking my Havana Club. Oh.
Well, we need to go to Havana Unana. Hey, by the way, that girl said some terrible things in her past on her Tumblr. We won't get there. But anyways, back to Russell Westbrook. I love the way that dude competes. Like, I wish every professional athlete had that type of – now, granted, I didn't. I mean, I wasn't like that at all. But it's so much fun, and it's like refreshing to watch an old school guy that just wants to do whatever, whenever to get a win. I'm not saying I'd be friends with him and I get along with him, but watching him want to just kick everybody's ass every single night for the last couple of years has been incredible. He dresses like a wild ant. His style is something that I would never be able to pull off. But whenever you watch him on the court, I absolutely love it. And I'm happy for the Houston Rockets because James Harden, I guess, is putting up 40 points a night, but now they got a dog in there too, and Russell Westbrook. That Western Conference is going to be fun to watch, man. I think last night I got a little bit of taste of it with a little Milwaukee sprinkle in there. Ty Schmidt, do you ever watch the NBA or do you hate it?
No, I mean, I watch it, but same thing like we've talked about. Like, it was tough watching that last night just because it's like, it doesn't matter. It just, the game doesn't, like, it's a good, I mean, it's, you know, it's entertaining. It's fun to watch. There was nothing else on, but it's like, that game means nothing in terms of the bigger picture, you know, down the stretch.
The GOAT, Mike Greenberg, went on an incredible run yesterday on Get Up about how if teams aren't trying to break the all-time win records in the NBA, what are we even playing for? I mean, he got very mad about the load management conversation, which has kind of taken over absolutely everything in the NBA conversation because it's a real thing. You got people paying for tickets. There's a lot of all the things that you've heard. And now that the analytics and the data and the analysis is like, well, just what Ty said, this game honestly doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. If you want to give your guy a rest, go ahead and do it. But the fans, Ty, the fans are what's getting screwed over. And I think there's a turn of the tide coming against the NBA about how long their schedule is now, or how long their season is. Somebody tweeted me yesterday, like, you're mad at the NBA for how long their season is, but you're not mad at the NHL. Well, the NHL doesn't have a load management issue. They're not, their best players aren't just sitting out of nowhere. And to be honest, a lot of the world doesn't even know that the NHL exists, and that's because Frank Maraldo doesn't talk about it enough.
I try. It's hard to get it in. You guys always shut it down. And then you have your laughs.
And that's hockey talk. But I'm a big hockey fan. I grew up in hockey town, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But the NBA, the load management thing's a real problem, and it feels as if the tide is turning against that. It feels as if, just like the NCAA, I felt as if the tide was turning against the NCAA, and then they made the people could sign autographs for money and stuff like that. It felt like the tide was turning against it. It feels like the tide is turning against the NBA in their season. I think in the very near future, we're going to have a shortened season. I think that's going to happen. I mean, granted, whenever I predict things, they don't always come true, just like 99% of the time. But in this particular fashion, I do believe that's going to be the case. But let's move away from the NBA because nobody listens to a guy that kicks balls for a living for NBA chatter. This weekend, there's NFL football on Saturday. There's NFL football on Sunday. There's the Boca Bowl on Saturday at 3:30 on ABC, where your guy will be able to speak probably 3 times in the entire game from the field analyst position down here. It's going to rain. It's going to be windy. I can't wait for that. And our friend Diggs, our degenerate friend's Italian friend Diggs, has 6 sexy bets, not only for this weekend, but for bowl season. Mr. Diggs, let's make all the money off of our friends at FanDuel.
Yeah, I do have 6 sexy bets that are most definitely probably guaranteed to win, but also maybe might lose. I just want to throw out that disclaimer there first. What?
Hey, don't sound so soft. Like I don't need you being that weak whenever you're coming in with these 6 sexy. If they're not sexy bets, just
no,
say
they
it.
are.
If these bets have good personalities and they're not that sexy, they're just average bets, let me know because I want 6 sexy bets that I can go bankrupt FanDuel with.
Well, it's true. I mean, they are very sexy bets that I am highly confident in that I am betting, but I didn't know if liability-wise, if we tell people to take these and they lose their house, if we're liable. So I just had to throw that in as a disclaimer.
Okay, smart. By the way, if any of these bets cost you your child's education, your house, or anything like that, it's not on us. There's a disclaimer. Good call, Diggs. By the way, very smart of you, Diggs.
By the way, we might be going back to NBA talk. There's a kind of a breaking story right now, but I'm doing more research into it for possibly later, possibly hour 2 maybe. I haven't found them yet.
We have a new. We have a breaking news. We have an entire breaking news thing. I don't know if Zito's going to be able to get it. If there's breaking news, this show is a show that likes to break news.
Do you want me to break it?
Zito, you got it on deck back there?
Yeah, Jay, go ahead.
Hit it, Jay.
He has no idea how to do it.
Oh, boy. Breaking news!
Perfect, Zito. Break the news.
Apparently, Steph Curry's got nudes out there. They're floating around the internet. It's just not good. It's just not.
That's not. Hey, come on. I'm sick of the dicks being on the internet, okay? I'm sick of it.
All right.
I'm sick of these are happening at a rapid rate. By the way, I just learned last night about another one that we have not talked about that's even worse than all of these combined. And
who's that?
When the fappening happened,
Yeah.
I almost vomited. I mean, those things were forced in my face by A.Q. Shipley, who's a terrible person. I almost vomited. The hackers getting into these people's clouds and just sending out their balls everywhere is a wild scene. And that's why you can't be tweeting your meat at any given moment. Boys.
It's terrible.
And that's just why you can't do it.
It's terrible. All right, here's the bets. We're starting with the Bulls. We're starting with the Bahama Bulls. I don't know if you guys heard about the Bahamas Bowl, but Buffalo versus Charlotte. Today, they're sustained 30-mile-per-hour winds with gusts over 40 miles per hour. The under has already plummeted from 58 to 50, so we might be too late on the under, but that's fine. The game will be played on the ground. Both teams have around the 30th ranked rushing attack in the nation. Here's the difference. Buffalo's number 7 in defending the run. Charlotte is number 108 in rush defense.
Ooh.
We are hammering Buffalo minus 6.5. That's number 1, first sexy pick. Number 2, New Mexico Bowl. Central Michigan, San Diego State.
Well,
San Diego State, top 10 defense and bottom 10 offense. San Diego State's going to shut down Central Michigan. Central Michigan's going to shut down San Diego State. San Diego State's on a 12-1 under run. Take the under 40.5 in the New Mexico Bowl.
Love it.
Third bowl game,
hey,
the Cure Bowl. Georgia Southern minus 5 versus Liberty, over under 56.5. Georgia Southern runs the ball 80% of the time. Liberty is number 105 in stopping the run, okay? Liberty passes the ball 23rd most in the country. Georgia Southern, 96. They can't defend it. Take the over in that game. Now we're going to the NFL. Texans, minus 3. No Evans, no Godwin. Jameis is banged up. Texans don't want to play Week 17 and have it mean something. Texans, minus 3. I am going Cowboys, minus the 1.5.
Tony.
Eagles, last 3 weeks. They lost to the Dolphins. They beat the Giants in overtime, and they had to have a comeback against the Redskins. They're playing with fire. They're playing with Vince Papale at wide receiver. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys, minus 1.5. And the last one is the Broncos, minus 6.5, because the Lions stink. Blouse showed his real self, and the team's pissed at Patricia's staying.
there's a couple I disagree with, but if you say they're sexy, they're sexy. We got to get to a break. We got to re-FaceTime so this thing doesn't crash in the middle of the show. But I think we've done pretty good here in the first
Pretty
14
solid.
minutes,
yeah.
being
Good start.
Hey, look
700,
at us.
800 miles apart.
Hey, look at us.
Hey, look at us.
Hey!
Look at us.
Let's go.
All right, we'll be back on the other side with more riveting conversation. Remember, don't put the mortgage or the kids' education on Diggs' bet. These bets have good personality for good reason, but I feel good about a lot of them, Diggs. We'll be back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, December 20th.
Ten years ago, I had an undiagnosed heart condition, and erectile dysfunction was actually the first sign that something was wrong.
Luckily, I'm a doctor, an expert in sexual health, and Zach's dad.
Not everyone has a doctor in the house, and some health conditions can be really tough to talk about. We started Roman to change that.
Now you can go online and chat with a physician.
And if treatment is right for you, we'll ship genuine medication right to your door. If you're experiencing ED, hair loss, cold sores, or other issues, let's take care of it.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show right here in Boca Raton, Florida. There's the ocean. There's a windsurfer right there, and there's some Bob Ross birds. I was planning on doing this from the beach, but it turns out there's like gale force winds outside, and that's not great for technology. But welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here, Friday, December 20th, 2019. The boys are back in Indianapolis, and I appreciate them all. Todd McComas is manning the phones, 1-833-622-3331. And if this works, I will be the most impressed I've ever been with this, something that we've been a part of. Let's go to James in Baltimore, Todd.
All right. And boy, you called it. It is not going through like it did in rehearsal.
Good news. There was no chance of that happening. But if we can get to the phones, we'll get to the phones. If not, what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about – I'm a little bit worried about this weekend, okay? I hammered – let's get to this segment. Let's do it. Guys –
There it is.
Okay. So, Fox and I traveled yesterday from Indy to Westchester, New York, to Westchester, New York to Stanford to Westchester, New York, to Westchester, New York, down here to Cuba, Boca Raton, Florida. And I was scrolling the internet through a lot of it because yesterday we were on a plane for 7 hours yesterday, and that's a long, long time. So I was scanning through the internet, and I noticed that other sports shows have these segments where they just ask these very ridiculous questions, and then they just alley-oop themselves to give takes that they have. And this was something I was like, you know what? Bingo, brilliant. We're a sports show. This is something we should do. Ain't that right, Diggs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just it's Sports Show 101.
Ty, you got accepted into Harvard. You chose to go to Iowa instead. This is what a smart show would do. Am I accurate?
Yeah, without question. You hit the nail on the head.
That's what we're doing here. We're hitting nails right on the head, and we're doing questions that I seen on other shows. Let's get to it, Zito. The first one that I saw was they were asking if I was to draft somebody, who would I rather draft? Tua Tagovailoa. Is that right?
Yeah.
Just
pretty
about.
much.
Oh, yeah.
What it's Tua Tagovailoa.
Yes. Nailed it.
Throw up the shaka, bro. I go to Hawaii all the time. I'm getting married in Hawaii, so that's good news. Throw up the shaka, bro. Chuck the shaka. I love Tua. I love the island he comes from. Big Goose, what up? Tua Tagovailoa or Joe Burrow. If I was a GM somehow, who would I rather? By the way, shout out to Troy Aikman, who I think is legitimately trying to become a general manager.
Mm-hmm.
He saw Mike Mayock go over to the Raiders, and he's like, man, I mean, he talked on TV a little bit, just like I did. He becomes a GM. They actually do pretty good. It's a fun way to get back in the game. I don't have to play fantasy football anymore. I get to play real-life fantasy football. Good for Troy Aikman, by the way. Handsome Troy is a friend of ours. He's a friend of the brand. I hope he becomes a GM because another ally in the NFL is good. And also, I think Troy would be good at it, by the way. He's got a good brain. I think him and Joe Buck are a talented team, though. I would miss them. I would miss them as a team if he was to go back to general managing or something like that, but I would be happy for him. Anyways, if I was a general manager, which would never happen, we all know that. I have a mugshot. It's going to be tough to hire a general manager that has a mugshot. But if I was to be a general manager, who would I rather draft, Tua or Joe Burrow, okay? I am somebody who just 1 year ago said that I thought Alabama could beat the Cincinnati Bengals because of Tua. I literally said that. I publicly said that. And I got roasted for it. And absolutely, was it the Bengals or the Bills? Who was it?
Browns last year, I think.
Browns. I watch Hard Knocks. I mean, what do you want from me? I watch Hard Knocks. We just talked to Hugh Jackson about it yesterday. And I said, I think it was an emotional statement because I understand that the NFL is not just an all-star game of college. It's like an elite all-star game. The super tier athletes only make it in the NFL. So it's quite a vast difference. But in an emotional statement that I didn't mean, that didn't make much sense, I said I thought Alabama could beat an NFL team strictly because they finally had a quarterback that could really dictate a game. Tua was this accurate passer. It was no longer just run the ball. It was longer just let the offensive line manage the defensive line. It was no longer the defense is hungry, which in the NFL would not work. I thought potentially because they had weapons, they had Judy running around, and they had a couple other wide receivers, and Tua could hit them all. So I actually said, I think that they could beat an NFL team because Tua is an absolute weapon. Now that I sit here in almost the end of 2019, December 20th, 2019, after watching Tua go through a couple surgeries now, and after watching Tua kind of behind the best offensive line in college football, or damn near the best offensive line in college football, and have the best weapons in college football, and still get hurt, and still not be able to get rid of the ball and things like that, it made me change my mind. Do I think Tua will be a good NFL quarterback? I think if he can maintain his health, he'll be a good NFL quarterback. I'm not 100% sure he can, though. This is not something that is a knock on him. He's either just very unlucky or he gets in situations that are just not good. And does he put himself in those situations? Maybe. I don't know. But in my eyes, if I'm a general manager and I'm drafting with the first pick overall, you can't take a guy who's already had 4 surgeries. You just can't do it. I would go with the guy who has much less experience than Tua, but also has much less injury or risk alongside him in Joe Burrow. And did this change after I saw Joe Burrow down there at the Mercedes-Benz, the Sphincter Dome or whatever they call it? Yes, 1,000%. Once I saw Joe Burrow in person and I saw him just so calm, cool, collected. There's 2 cults in the crowd. You got grown men who've accomplished a lot and they're like barking at the top of their lungs. And you got everything happening. In Joe Burrow, he either had no idea what was going on or he did not care what was going on. He was just there to do his thing. After seeing how calm, cool, collected he was, after seeing how much he's been loved in the locker room, in a brand new locker room after leaving from the Ohio State and going into the SEC and winning over that entire place, and after he wins the Heisman and shows so much gratitude for his offensive line, and then you watch him in person, he can make every single throw, and he can utilize his feet, and he's an Ohio kid, so he's already got some grit. Nothing was ever handed to him. He had to utilize the transfer portal to kind of get this up and running. For me, Joe Burrow is the lock in this situation, although I do believe Tua has a chance to become a good quarterback in the NFL. I just think Joe Burrow is an absolute lock. And the person that I heard answer this question said the complete opposite of me, and that's why I think this sports media business is the most insane thing I've ever been a part of.
Does it worry you that, like, he was at Ohio State and he got beat out by some quarterbacks that are now in the NFL, and then he last year at LSU was pretty average, and now he has this one breakout year when they have this incredible offense with a new offensive coordinator? Does any of that worry you?
Well, I think the new offensive coordinator is what really sells it. The fact that he had an NFL offensive coordinator come in there, and he was able to handle it all mentally and physically, I think that helps his case even more. And I'm assuming a lot of NFL coaches know Coach Brady from his time in New Orleans. They're going to reach out to him. They're going to say, hey, what's this guy like in the film room? What's he like in the weight room? Why has he been so efficient and so good? And I assume Coach Brady's going to be like, well, he's been a gift to us, to be honest with you. This guy is a hard worker. He's won over everybody. You heard it in his Heisman speech, the biggest moment of his life. He starts crying in the middle of it, thanking everybody else. And now a food drive started for a pantry in his home area. I mean, this dude, everything he does in the last couple months has just seemed to be right. He's riding this heater. I don't think I've ever seen somebody on a heater like Joe Burrow is on a heater right now. You never walk away from a heater. He's going to have to because he's a fifth-year senior, but he is on a heater right now. And I think that's why LSU wins the national championship, by the way, strictly because the heater this kid is on is next level. So although I understand that he's been beat up, Dwayne Haskins, by the way, might be a very, very good NFL quarterback. I think that is – and now we know they have a good culture over there. Bruce Allen.
Great culture.
Okay?
Incredible.
They have a good culture over there. But they have a terrible football team notoriously. And Dwayne Haskins, since becoming their starter, has done very good. So I think maybe the guys at Ohio State, because this is what Ohio State does. Now, granted, they got some old white fans who currently hate me, but whatever. They're diehard fans because the team is so good. I think although Joe Burrow kind of came into his own very late, whether it was opportunity or maybe it was actual football skills coming, I don't care about any of that. I care about what he's doing right now, what he's looking like right now. And for me, Tua can't even walk right now because of that hip injury that is probably going to be pretty bad. I assume he's going to be good at it, but I have to preface this. I think he can throw the ball very well. He's a natural righty, and he's throwing better with his offhand than anybody else in the country. I mean, that's by far. But I think Joe Burrow is the lock, and I think this year cemented that for most NFL folks, if I had to guess.
Also doesn't hurt that, like you said, he doesn't have any of the injury concerns and he doesn't have any off-field issues. So it's like, you know that this is going to be a guy that can come in and like kind of create the culture for your franchise going forward.
Yeah, and you weren't insinuating that Tua has any off-field stuff.
No.
Because Tua
Right.
does it. I just want to make – I know you didn't, just if the radio people couldn't see your face.
Right.
I want them to know that you weren't insinuating that. By all accounts, Tua is beloved by everybody.
Exactly.
I mean, literally beloved by everybody. So that is definitely not a knock on him. I just think this Joe Burrow run in the skills that he's shown with an NFL coordinator is something that makes him an absolute lock. And that's the first question that I synced on another show. Let's get to the next one, my friend Azito. I wrote this, by the way.
Looks good.
I drew the photo, too, by the way.
That was really good.
I assume everybody just figured that Evan Foxy did that because that's what everybody acts like, that Evan Foxy does everything for me. But I actually did the Bob Ross birds.
No, he's a child. We know he can't write.
Here's a question that's really – I seen this on television, and, well, it's not on the internet, but it was originally on television. And it was one that I never in a million years thought that I would think what I thought immediately upon reading it. And the question was, who would you rather have this weekend? Josh Allen or the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady? And when I originally thought that and read that, I said, well, you always be yourself. Unless you can beat Tom Brady, then you beat Tom Brady.
Yep.
Right? I've said on numerous – Connor, you agree with me, of course.
A little bit.
Yeah, I've said on numerous occasions that when babies pop out of birth canals, they should show a picture of Tom Brady and say, hey, if you're half as successful as this guy, half as attractive as this guy, half as accomplished as this guy, life is good. And that would be a tall task for a lot of babies popping out of birth canals because what Tom Brady has accomplished has been nothing short of miraculous. You're the outright greatest quarterback of all time. Now, is that situational? Potentially. If other quarterbacks were in that situation, would they have succeeded as much as he has? Maybe. Was the fact that he was a low-round draft pick that gave him a little bit more chip on his shoulder so he was able to buy in to Bill Belichick's system quicker and more efficiently as opposed to first-round draft picks who might not have been able to do that because of the way the Patriot way is much harder? That might be an asset that Tom Brady has whenever people talk about, well, if this person was here or this person was here, would they be able to do better? I think they would have done better, obviously, because you have Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of all time, by your side. But also buying into that is something that some first rounders can't do because first rounders have been nothing but the cream of the crop since the beginning of time. So whenever you have to buy into something, I'm not saying any of them wouldn't be able to do it. I'm just saying that is also a trait that Tom Brady does not get enough credit for. He's a superstar who is very willing to get coached by Bill Belichick. He gets chewed out in team meetings. You don't see that with 40-year-old quarterbacks and the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And you don't see that with any position, greatest position of all time, getting chewed out in team meetings. Tom Brady's willing to do that because Tom Brady has been willing to do whatever he can to become a better football player, to become the best of all time. Okay? He's successful. He's handsome. He's all these things. 6 Super Bowls, you name it. Nothing but swag, great social media presence. He is, what it is to be an NFL quarterback. So when I say this, I feel like a buffoon. I'd rather have Josh Allen this weekend.
Oh, come on!
I know. This is so stupid. This is so dumb. I'm going to regret this. But Josh Allen, this is going to be a defensive holdout, not a shootout. This is going to be a defensive holdout. They're just going to be holding each other to limited yards. Now, unless N'Keal Harry can somehow open up that offense, and is Philip Dorsett playing, Connor?
I believe so, yeah. I think he's back.
Okay, so if Philip Dorsett's playing and he can maybe open up the field a little bit. But even then, the Buffalo Bills defense contained Lamar Jackson when nobody could. That Buffalo Bills defense is the truth. They held an undefeated NFL quarterback to a very, very low QBR with 4 interceptions just a week ago. But they've done that to every single quarterback they faced. That Buffalo Bills defense is the truth. And on the other side, the New England Patriots defense has led them to being the favorite in the AFC. That offense has not done a single thing this entire year for the Patriots. They haven't done anything. They've done some dinking and dunking, and they've made whatever they could out of nothing. They've made chicken salad out of chicken grumpy, but they have not been the force that they have been in the past. I mean, now, will they figure that out this weekend? Maybe. That's what we've all been waiting for, by the way. We've all been waiting for the day that Josh McDaniels, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Ernie Adams, the Spygate people on the sideline, everybody to figure it out for that offense to get going, but they just haven't been able to do that. And the body language from Tom Brady makes me feel as if he's not 100% sure they're going to be able to. He said to his sideline, I need you to be faster, quicker, more explosive, different humans, is what he said to them. He knows that they're in a bad spot. So if you have a quarterback that's mobile, that can make a play whenever there's no play to be made, I think that's the quarterback you would like in this type of holdout game that the Bills and the Patriots are about to have. I think the Bills, are they still minus or plus 6.5?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's insane to me. I honestly, I might be completely wrong, and I don't have the Hammer with me down here in Boca Raton because the Hammer can't travel 45 hours, which is what it took us to get here. The Buffalo Bills feel like this is and the money line was plus 230 yesterday. I have no idea what it is.
Same.
This feels like a game that the Bills could win for the first time in a long time in Foxborough. And after talking to Mr. Lorenzo
Alexander,
Mr. Alexander, it feels like this team is ready for this moment, as opposed to going into. I was on a couple teams that weren't ready to go into Gillette. You go into Foxborough, it's almost like you're walking into a Hall of Fame. You're getting a chance to play at this hallowed ground or hallowed ground? Hallowed ground. You got the Minutemen on the sideline with the guns. You got all these massholes losing their minds. You drive through a neighborhood, then you get to the stadium. The tailgates are going crazy, and you know that the goats are on the other sideline. And you know it's going to be a long day no matter who it is. Lorenzo Alexander told us that this team is basically ready for this. They've been together for a long time. They've been waiting for this moment where they could potentially make a dent in the AFC East. I think it's potentially this weekend, and it's only because that offense hasn't figured it out yet for the New England Patriots. They just don't have enough weapons. They don't have that Gronkowski it factor. They don't have a guy who's now a rapper who's trying to sabotage his entire NFL career, every tweet that he sends. They just don't have that unless N'Keal Harry can become that, which last week he showed signs of prominence. I'm not 100% sure he will this week, but I would like to have a guy who's very mobile. And at Tom Brady's age, now granted, he has 1,000 rushing yards in his career. I'm not saying he's not an athlete. I've seen his Instagram video where smoke's coming out of the back of him while he runs. But this weekend, I think you're going to need a quarterback that can move. And Josh Allen, by all accounts, can move. And that's why I'm saying in this particular situation, I'm taking Josh Allen over Tom Brady, and I'm going to regret it.
Yeah, I'm going to politely disagree with you, Pat. I'm not going to say you have rocks for brains for picking Josh Allen because that would be unnecessary. But a little bird came to me last night, told me in my dreams, Connor, this is the weekend the Patriots offense figures it out. They get it done against the Bills. I'm thinking a 40-piece maybe. But in a game like this, it's going to come down to one or two throws. You got to love Brady.
Okay. I guess. I guess. If the birdie told you, the birdie wouldn't lie to you.
Nope.
Nick, please hit the music. Hey, I want to remind listeners of this show that time is running out on Simply Safe's huge holiday offer. It's their biggest sale of the year. If you're looking to fully protect your home with award-winning 24/7 home security, now is the time to do it. Burglaries spike during the holiday season, with families traveling and leaving empty homes and expensive gifts just lying around. Simply Safe's holiday sale couldn't come at a better time. Simply Safe has everything you need to protect your home and family. I'll make sure everybody knows where I'm at. There's a smart lock and video doorbell pro to defend your front door. An army of sensors and cameras that guards every window, door, and room in your home. If there's a break-in, they can give real-time video confirmation to police as it happens, so police respond up to 3.5 times faster. No surprise, Simply Safe has won Set and PC Magazine Choice Awards.
Wow.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
They win awards, dude. SimpliSafe made a holiday offer with listeners of our show in mind. 25% off and a free HD security camera, but it ends December 31st. They rarely do deals this big, so now's your chance. Visit SimpliSafe.com/Pat, and remember, this sale ends December 31st. Also, it's a great time to remember that hiring the right person takes time. Time that you often don't have. Urgency can be your enemy when it comes to finding candidates that are truly meant for your business. That's why LinkedIn is the best place to post your job. LinkedIn job screens candidates with the hard and soft skills you're looking for so you can hire the right person. Pat, what was that?
What are soft skills?
I thought that's what you said, Diggs, because, Diggs, you're a guy that when you hear something 45 times, you don't remember it.
True.
You didn't deserve that. Soft skills are things like collaboration, creativity, adaptability. LinkedIn looks beyond the work skills and puts your job posts in front of qualified candidates who match your business requirements perfectly. That's how LinkedIn makes sure your job post is seen by the people you want to hire, people with the skills, qualifications, and other interests that will help your business grow. It's no wonder a person is hired every 8 seconds with LinkedIn, and why companies rated LinkedIn Jobs the #1 hiring platform for delivering quality hires.
All right.
Go for LinkedIn. Go for LinkedIn Jobs. Find the right person for your business today with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/Pat. Again, that's linkedin.com/Pat to get $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions obviously apply. On the other side of the break, we have Flashback Friday with Frank, who people that were supposed to be franchise changers that just didn't pan out. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show here, December 20th, 2019.
At some point in their life, 52% of all men will experience erectile dysfunction, but most of them never get treated. Now there's Roman, the digital health clinic for men. With Roman, you can get genuine medication prescribed by a U.S. licensed physician, all from the comfort of your home. If medication is right for you, Roman delivers it with free 2-day shipping and in discreet packaging. Get started with a free online visit today at GetRoman.com/TV. Roman, let's take care of it.
Oh, we just turned the music off right before the beat drop?
You know, I knew Jay was going to do that.
Oh,
I
come
knew he
on,
was going to do that.
Jay. Snow Jay.
Snow Jay.
Jay, have a little self-awareness back there, Jay. That beat was about to bang us. Jeez. I think I'm getting the flu bug that you guys had.
Don't say that.
Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it inside. Like, I feel different inside. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's just the Florida air. You're in the swamp.
The weather will clear it up.
I don't think so. I think the weather it's about to be a hurricane down here. I think it's about to be a hurricane for me, too. Basement and attic are about to happen.
Oh,
No, pound the fluids.
I am. Dude, I've been hammering these Nestle Pure Life cheap waters just like it's nothing. I mean, like, I've been trying my best. But I'm coming. Anyways, before I potentially die from this flu that Ty and Connor gave me, shout out to you guys. Let's do a little segment called Flashback Friday. Players that were supposed to transform franchises and they did it with good friend Pessimistic Frank.
Yeah, let's take a little walk down memory lane. Just a mere 9 months ago, these guys were acquired, and they were monster moves in the NFL. They shook waves. They made everyone turn and say, hey, oh, that guy's going to be a stud. That guy's going to take my team to the playoffs. I can't wait. Turns out, not quite the case. Number one on the list.
This is how long ago?
9
months ago?
9 months. Number one on the list, squaring off against the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend, Le'Veon Bell going to the New York Jets.
Oh, yeah. I remember. Everybody said Le'Veon Bell going to the Jets. He took a year off, ended up making like $35 million guaranteed. Everybody's saying it's smart business. It's good business. His rap career started taking off. He was on yachts and talking to thoughts and doing the whole thing. And then he goes to the Jets and Sam Darnold catches the mono. Adam Gase is the head coach. And it's really all gone to hell in a handbasket. Ain't that right, Frank?
676 rushing yards for Lev this year, 3 touchdowns. Just, and you could blame the offensive line a little bit, I suppose.
Maybe.
But it's hard to say this. You didn't see this coming going to the New York Jets, just the model of stability there.
Let's assume, though, that he took 1 year off. We talked to Melvin Gordon. No, Chris Johnson. We talked to Chris Johnson, Y2K Chris Johnson, running back for the Titans back in the day. The running back, by the way, a guy who broke all the records. He decided to sit out one training camp, and he said he would never do that again because his body was nowhere near ready for the beating that it was going to take as a running back. Because as a running back, you're getting hit every single time you get the ball. I mean, the durability of running back, the fact that Frank Gore is still playing running back, by the way, for the Buffalo Bills, where he wears little to no pads, is something that is just legendary. I mean, I couldn't even fathom being a running back in the NFL. I'm nowhere near tough enough. You take a year off. You experience the finer things in life down there in Miami. He was living good. We all saw it. You get back in, maybe a year getting, back into shit. I don't know. Whatever happened for him. He said everybody's got to be patient. He said, I ain't never date that girl, too. He's being linked to some other girl. I mean, there's been a lot of drama around Lev Bell with the flu and the bowling and this and that. I hope he gets back to form because whenever he was playing good football, man, he was magical to watch, Diggs.
Yeah, he was. He was great to watch. But, if you leave a great organization, your career takes a tumble. That's just how it works.
I mean, you just can't for 1 minute. You can't just for 1 minute just do actual analysis without being completely biased. That is sad. That's sad.
I mean, Nick read the stats. Stats are stats. Men lie. I lie. Stats don't.
Nope.
Let's get to number 2 on the list. Odell Beckham Jr. leaving the Giants, going to the Browns for a haul, 2 first-round picks. Odell actually this year is on pace to pretty much finish about the same as he did in his last year with the Giants. He's got 67 catches this year for 910 yards. Last year he finished with 77 catches for 1,052, although he had 6 touchdowns last year, only 2 so far this year.
You know what, though? Odell Beckham, when he was in the Giants or in a Giants uniform, there was the proposal to the kicking nets. There was, like, the outburst. There was, like, I feel like somehow, some way, going to the Cleveland Browns, he's matured.
Oh, what about the watch? And is he going to stay? Come get me, bro.
Yeah, but he's not doing that publicly. If he was doing that all publicly, well, the watch. I mean, you got a good deal with that watch, by the way. I mean, the guy's paid him a bunch of money. I mean, what do you want from him? The guy's a businessman. Yeah, dude, didn't wear it during the game. Only wore it during the visor is an issue. The cleats. I mean, there is a lot of semantics around Odell Beckham.
They feel like minor now, though.
But for me, I think the way he's handled everything in the media this year, without burying people publicly, and because there's been plenty of opportunity where everybody would be like, "Hey, dog, you're right." That's what people would say. "Hey, you're right," and he has not done that. I think that's a very telling thing for Odell Beckham becoming a more mature individual professionally. Now, granted, you still have him asking, which I assume he thought people were his friends that he was asking to come get him out of Cleveland because, and we all know it's a terrible situation there right now. I talked to Hugh Jackson yesterday, and Hugh Jackson said the only thing he said about Freddie Kitchens was he was my running back coach. He didn't say anything. He didn't say anything else about him potentially being a qualified candidate as a head coach. And I think all signs point to that being, a pretty accurate statement. So Odell goes from one situation he didn't love to another situation where the grass isn't greener, and somehow he has become a more professional person publicly. I think that's something that should be noted and talked about, but I hope the best days of Odell aren't behind us, honestly. I hope that isn't the case because there's another guy, just like Le'Veon Bell. When Odell Beckham is healthy and feeling good, and now granted he hasn't been healthy all year, Baker Mayfield buried the training staff for that, but he hasn't been healthy all year. He gets back healthy, he gets back in a good state of mind, and they can figure out an offense that can utilize him, whether it's in Cleveland or somewhere else. I mean, that'll be good. But he didn't buy his house in Cleveland just to sell it, Nick. Nobody buys in Cleveland to sell him.
Yeah, they didn't sign him in New York just to trade him either, but,
Wow.
They did pay him a lot of money. Then he did that interview with Lil Wayne. I think that was wild. Hey, that was wild. He just buried everybody. I would like everybody that's watching the stream, though, to recognize the N in Raton was supposed to be a bird.
Oh, we saw that.
It's incredible art.
It looks like it.
Fox was trying to tell me a second ad read. He didn't know that I slipped them both in at one time.
Professional
move. Anybody else, Frank?
Yeah, number 3 on the list. I mean, we could spend an hour. We could spend a whole show talking about this guy, Antonio Brown to the Oakland Raiders. What can you really say here?
Jeez. And the Pats.
It's been a disaster.
Well, then Antonio Brown to the Patriots.
We could use him.
By the way, the NFL will never let. I don't think. Just a couple weeks ago, I said that I thought Antonio Brown would get signed before Dez Bryant, and now I'm at the very real observation that with the way he's tweeting and the things that he's doing, I don't think he wants to get back in the NFL. I genuinely don't think he, at this current moment, doesn't want to get back in the NFL. Now, during the offseason, maybe he'll link up with some other players who are training again, fall back in love with what got him everything that he has right now, which is the game of football because of how damn good he is. But, man, it's sad to watch this whole thing. Now, maybe he'll be the next best rapper on earth. Maybe he'll be winning a Grammy like a year from now, and this will all kind of be like, yeah, good decision. Like, for instance, I walked away from the NFL directly after having my best season and making a Pro Bowl. Everybody called me an idiot, but look at me now. The dummy is succeeding. The dummy is succeeding. So if Antonio Brown wants to walk away from the NFL and become a rapper, I hope he has success. But, boy, the way he's acting, it really feels like he doesn't want to get back in the NFL. Big thanks to Nick for that Friday players that were supposed to change franchises. We did questions that we synced on other shows. Diggs gave some sexy bets. I'm coming to you live from like 1,000 miles away from Indianapolis, Indiana. This might be our best first hour of radio we have ever had. Shout out to Zito for getting things done. Zito, congratulations. The only thing that has been terrible, but we expected many more problems, has been the phone situation. But Todd says he's got that figured out. So maybe we'll hit the phones in the second hour. We got Andre Reed in the second hour. We got plenty more sports talk. We can't wait to see you on the other side of the break. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
Did you know over 60% of men experience significant hair loss by age 35? Some shave it or hide it, but some of us want to treat it. That's why there's Roman, the digital health clinic for men. With Roman, you can get personalized hair loss treatment and unlimited follow-ups from a U.S. licensed physician. If treatment is right for you, Roman delivers it with free 2-day shipping. Get started today with a free online visit at GetRoman.com/TV. Roman, let's take care of it.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. McAfee Show.
Yes, it is, Chase Rice, you handsome son of a bitch. And right now, the Pat McAfee part of the Pat McAfee Show is in Boca Raton, Florida, for the Boca Bowl. I am in a, when I say this, I mean, I don't say this type of stuff often. We're in a raggedy-ass hotel down here. I mean, this place is a raggedy-ass hotel. We got people that should not be in public surrounding us all over this hotel. I had a guy stand 4 inches behind me while ordering an omelet this morning, and there was nobody else in the area. Just standing right on my ass, just like this, peeking over my shoulder. Almost gave him a Hadouken! But it didn't end there. The smells and creeps continued throughout the entire hotel, and we were in a conference room. I'm very thankful they gave it to us for free, but there was an entire pigsty of nonsense in here from, I assume, a meeting that took place in here a year ago, because I wouldn't know who would schedule this place to have meetings. But the technology has been fantastic. The first hour went beautifully. I'm down here for the Boca Bowl, which is a you got to see it last night, late night. Can't wait. That's tomorrow at 3:30 to go alongside the 3 NFL games that are Saturday, the 3 NFL games that are on Sunday. Diggs will give you his bets for all 6 NFL games this weekend. He didn't know that until right now. Excited to hear what he has to say about that. Speaking of people that are joining the show in Indianapolis, Indiana, the boys are all back there. Todd McComas is on the phones. We'll figure out in this hour if we can answer them. 1-833-622-3331. Shattered Connor is on the couch. We're going to talk about the NBA soon. Nick Maroto's on the 1s and 2s. Ty Schmidt's there. Zito's running Foxy's job and Zito's job. So big shout out to Dodge. Let's go, Zito. It's a feel-good Friday over here except for everybody except for my internal section. I think I'm catching the flu that Ty and Connor had just a couple days ago. You said you lost 9 pounds, though, Ty?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't really have the flu. Mine was like a really bad head cold / night sweat. So if it's flu related, I think you may have gotten that from Connor.
Dirty pub. Dirty pub.
I plead the fifth on this one. I only had stuff coming out of the attic, not the basement. So if you got any of that, don't look this way.
All right. Well, I assume I picked up something from you boys because the body does not feel great, but the show has been fantastic. Speaking of show, got to see the Lake Show last night take on the Milwaukee Bucks, okay? And this was a game I hadn't been following the NBA because everybody knows that I, alongside the millions and millions of other humans that live in the United States of America, believe that the NBA should not start until at least Christmas, and they should shorten their season. So just like the NHL, I don't really follow along until the playoffs because I'm a Penguins fan, and normally we're just making a run towards the Stanley Cup. In the NBA, I don't start until Christmas, which is just a few days away. So this is about the right time for me to kind of get into it. But I watched my first NBA game last night, late night, and it was a replay of the Lakers-Bucks. And not only did I see Giannis, the Greek Freak, against the Atlanta Hawks just a couple weeks ago down there, who it was awesome to watch. I mean, when you see him in person, he's bigger than your biggest person, he's stronger than your strongest person, and he's more athletic than your athletic person. He airballed a free throw, which was mind-blowing. I don't know how you can be that athletic and not hit anything when shooting a free throw. But last night it looked like that big son bitch has figured out his shot. He had 5 deep threes last night with a unibrow 7-footer in his face. He was saying, give me the crown in LeBron's face. After the game, LeBron and Anthony Davis said, we got to tip the cap to him. And it wasn't like a very positive. I think Anthony Davis and LeBron potentially have real beef with the Greek Freak. And the Greek Freak, I believe, has real beef with them because all he talked about is, I wasn't the first pick of the draft. I'm not supposed to be here. All I did is work and get better. He looked great last night, and I think it's a sign of things to come. Now, Connor, I was reading on the internet this morning. I went deep into NBA Twitter, which is one of the best places to be. NBA ratings might be down, and NBA tickets might be down, but NBA Twitter will always be lit. I mean, it is a place that is always going. There was people saying last night that LeBron James was the 3rd best player on the court. Is that true? And what have I missed the first half of this season that is what's happening right now?
I mean, that's very tough to say when LeBron's got a triple-double. But, I mean, that's the thing about LeBron now. He's filtering the entire offense through Anthony Davis, so he can't be the best player on the court when he's not the one making all the shots and, scoring all the points. But I think the thing with Giannis Antetokounmpo that you touched upon is that LeBron and these other guys, they have a Robin to their Batman. Giannis is doing this all by himself. He's the best player. He does everything for the Bucks. He rebounds well. He can drive. And now, like you said, he's shooting the 3-ball from deep. The Greek Freak, I know he won the MVP last year, but he has taken that crown from LeBron. Clearly.
He won the MVP last year?
Oh, yeah.
I'm such a good sports show host. I had no idea that happened.
Yeah,
Good for him.
I just looked it up like 2 minutes ago. I barely even know either.
He's an enjoyable player to watch, though, man. He's a great story, too.
Yeah.
I think I saw that. I don't know. Was it a 30 for 30 or was it a Sports Center special? It was something
It was
along
like an
those lines.
E60.
What, he's hitchhiking or whatever?
Yeah, where they took us to that barn that they had over there in Greece that he was shooting in and the whole thing. And now he's only going to get better and better. And that's what he said last night in the post-game press conference. He was like, I'm only going to get better. I know it. Everybody knows it. And he didn't say it in that fact. I wish I had a Greek accent. This would sound much better. But I think he's only going to get better. And I think that's a problem for everybody in the NBA. Now, that Rockets-Clippers game.
Rivalry.
Now, that's the type of basketball I want to watch.
Yeah.
Now, I'm seeing 7-foot Greek Freak drain deep threes. I love watching that. The fact that he can jump higher than me, he's more successful than I am, and he has a better shot than I do. That's as a little white guy, you can hope and hang your hat on. You know what? I got a better shot than you. You don't. Nobody. If he's going to shoot like he shot last night forever, nobody's going to shoot better than Giannis. He was wet. That type of stuff. But in that Rockets-Clippers game, there was real beef in there. It felt like that was they were down 17, I think, at one point. They come back, relinquish the lead to the Clippers again. Then the Rockets end up going on top. Russell Westbrook still has that savageness to him this late in his career with this much success that he's had. He's a guy that I want on my team, any professional sport that we're playing. People are going to hate him. That's just what Russell Westbrook does. There was an entire rant about how Russell Westbrook ruined that guy's life in the stands whenever he threatened to fight him and got him banned and all that stuff. I'm not saying I want to be friends with Russell Westbrook. I don't think we'd ever be friends. But if I'm running a team, I want a guy that's like Russell Westbrook when it comes to his competitive nature, his savageness, his ability to do whatever, whenever, however, to whoever is something that not a lot of people have anymore. And that Rockets team, very fun to watch. That Clippers team, very talented. I think everything's running through the West, obviously. I might be wrong here because last night was literally the first game I watched. But that Western Conference is going to be very, very interesting to watch. And is it the Milwaukee Bucks on the Eastern Conference just a runaway with this whole thing, Connor?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Boston Celtics are a close second to the Milwaukee Bucks right now. But like you said earlier about Westbrook, in this new era of load management and kind of taking games off, Westbrook just goes so hard for every single play. And especially when he's going up against a guy like Pat Beverly and with the Clippers, who also likes to get in your face. He'll foul out every single game if he has to. It's just refreshing to watch, Yeah,
I agree. Very refreshing to watch. And the NBA, by all accounts, is not having a great business year. It's not. There's been calls by everybody that they have to change what they got going because it's going to go into the tank. It's going to go into the pooper. It's going to go into the same outhouse that Ty Schmidt ruined on Lake Minnetonka. if they continue to have this formula and this setup with this long schedule. But for this year, it was fun watching basketball last night again. And I don't think I've said that for a lot of years in the NBA.
Yeah, well, Christmas Day's around the corner. You're about to get a whole bunch load more of it, too.
A whole bunch load more, huh?
A whole bunch load more. Hey, there's games every
Was there 6 games?
From,
Six
noon,
games on
from
Christmas?
noon to 10. Bunch load more. Book it.
Hey, you love those bunch loads, huh? Cuz you
man.
love dump loads, bunch loads. You're just all over those.
They're the best. Hey, you give me a bunch dump load of peanut M&Ms, I'll see you next week.
Play the music, please, Nick. We'll be back on the other side of this break after I read this ad to talk about Diggs' locks of the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Diggs has locks on the weekend. Now, is he on the same heater that I am on? No. I don't think there's any that's on the heater that I'm on currently. Diggs is a great gambler. Diggs is now diving deep into the analytics of gambling because it's his profession now, and he's doing a lot better than he used to do.
True.
And I think we should all take that into account whenever we're thinking about hammering what he's about to say on the other side of the break. But before that, I hate Steven Singer.
He's the worst.
This guy. I was in Westchester County, New York. What did they say?
Stay away from Steven Stinger. That guy stinks.
That's the exact quote. Were you there with us? And then I landed in Boca last night, 2 a.m. Guess what the person said as soon as we trotted off the plane?
Yeah, you don't know Steven Singer, do you? Because
And
that guy stinks.
I heard of him. Well, there's this guy in Philly that everybody hates. And it's because the other jewelers, have been painting him in a bad light because his jewelry company is better than everybody else's. Steven has the most beautiful, best value diamond studs anywhere. And I mean anywhere. Diamond stud earrings are the #1 must-have gift this holiday. You can choose a great pair of Anita diamond stud earrings for under $270, and they're the best quality as well. Bright white with tons of sparkle. Don't settle for the cheap stuff that look like frozen spit.
Oh,
Hey, stay away from my spit, too, because I think I got the flu. So stay away from that. Buy real diamonds from a real jeweler you can trust, Steven Singer Jewelers. Steven also gives everyone a full value lifetime trade-in guarantee. That means you can trade up your diamond studs for the full value anytime. Steven makes holiday shopping easy, but don't wait any longer. Today is your last chance to order with free shipping in time for Christmas. You must order by today at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to get free shipping, and it will arrive in time for Christmas. Go right now to IHateStevenSinger.com or visit the real Steven Singer at the other corner of 8th and Walnut in Philly. Real diamonds, real experts, real jewelers. No one does real diamond studs better. Steven Singer Jewelers. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. IHateStevenSinger.com. Order by 5 Eastern Standard Time today to make sure that gets there by Christmas with free shipping. Shout out to Steven Singer. We'll be back on the other side with some football talk, sports talk, and maybe some calls if we can get the tech to work. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show on this Feel Good Friday, December 20th, 2019.
Ten years ago, I had an undiagnosed heart condition, and erectile dysfunction was actually the first sign that something was wrong.
Luckily, I'm a doctor, an expert in sexual health, and Zach's dad.
Not everyone has a doctor in the house, and some health conditions can be really tough to talk about. We started Roman to change that.
Now you can go online and chat with a physician.
And if treatment is right for you, we'll ship genuine medication right to your door. If you're experiencing ED, hair loss, cold sores, or other issues, let's take care of it.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. Feel Good Friday, December 20th, 2019. I am in Boca Raton, Florida, which, by the way, I've heard this place is very beautiful. It looked nice last night when we got in late night. The weather has been terrible. We were going to do this show from a beach. Instead, we're doing it in a raggedy conference room. We can't thank everybody enough for listening. The boys are back in Indianapolis. And now it's time for a segment that we debuted in the first hour that I can't wait to do again.
There it is.
Questions I synced on other shows. First two questions that I synced on other shows were about Tua or Joe Burrow. I picked Joe Burrow over Tua if I was to be an NFL GM right now. And the second question was this weekend, not in life, but would I rather have Josh Allen or Tom Brady this weekend? And I went with we can just pass that. We can go past. I don't have to say it again. You guys know what I said. You know what I said in the first hour. I don't need to say it again.
You don't.
Right?
You don't, you don't have to say it again.
You're good.
You can say something else if you want, though.
Saying it once is enough.
I said I would take Josh Allen this weekend, only this weekend, not for anything else.
Because of his legs.
Because it's going to be a defensive holdout. It's not a defensive shootout. It's a defensive holdout this weekend. The over-under is at 36.5. I think it's going to be the under. But I took Josh Allen specifically because we don't have to put the question up. We don't have to dive back into this. I hate that this question has come back up again because it sounds so dumb. Thank you, Zito. Tom Brady is everything, okay, that you want to be as a human. But this weekend, in a defensive holdout game, I would like a quarterback that can move a little bit. I think Tom Brady is just 1 year or two removed from being as athletic as Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. So I'm going with Josh Allen just specifically because of the mobility. But those are the two questions that I answered that I synced on other shows in the first hour. Now we're going to hit another two here in the second hour. Zito, please roll the third question. James Wiseman, Memphis Tiger, kind of Memphis Tiger, decides to leave college to enter the NBA draft. He hires an agent. Is this the right decision? Okay. So this is an interesting thing. I actually got a chance to talk to old Penny Hardaway down in Memphis whenever we were there for college game day. And he had his entire recruiting class and team around the Octagon that were standing out in the middle of Beale Street. That city, with Penny Hardaway being from there, he has a barber shop there. I mean, it felt revitalized again. It felt good that the basketball team was going to be all the way back. They were ranked in the top 5 or something like that going into the year for the first time in a long time. And it all revolved around this James – is that right, top 5? Top five. You get it. They were ranked very good for the first time in a long time. And it all revolved around this recruit, James Wiseman, who just so happened to be from Memphis or went to high school in Memphis. Now, as the NCAA did what the NCAA does, which is investigate things that they shouldn't investigate and try to ruin lives that they shouldn't try to ruin, they suspended him because back in the day, Penny paid for this kid to move to high school in Memphis to get a better high school operation to set his family up for a potential much more fulfilling future. Penny Hardaway was then deemed a booster, which means he took care of James Wiseman, which means you can't do that in the NCAA size. So they suspended the kid for like 19 games or something like that. Something along those lines. I don't remember the exact. They suspended him for a long time. James Wiseman now, in the middle of the suspension, before coming back, and at the beginning, by the way, the Memphis Tigers basketball team and program told the NCAA to go to hell. They're like, no, we're not doing it. You can suspend him. We don't care. He's still going to play. Then, obviously, they had to give in. They appealed it. It didn't. He got suspended, so he wasn't playing. So now James Wiseman was left with a choice. Do you sit around and hang around in Memphis and train, and when you get back, hope that your Memphis Tiger team goes on a run? Or do you continue to just go and train and set forth on your path and your dream of making the NBA? Now, we've seen players do this in the NFL. Bosa did this just a couple years ago. Now, granted, he didn't get suspended, but after he got hurt, he decided to turn his focus to training for the NFL. It has worked out for him. Yeah, I thought Chase Young was going to potentially do it, but it turns out Chase Young loves playing at The Ohio State and knew everything that he was going to be able to do and accomplish after he got suspended. He's come back and been a game wrecker. For me, if this is what James Wiseman wants to do, and he doesn't want to wait around and come back to Memphis, who he has no tie hasn't really played for them. This is his first year there. And he knows that the rules are you have to be 1 year removed from high school to be in the NBA. I think this is the right move for James Wiseman. Now, if James Wiseman said he wanted to come back and play, I think that's the right move. I think anybody that judges James Wiseman on this decision is a buffoon. I think anybody that says, oh, he's stupid, oh, there's no morality or nobility in this. Well, there's no nobility in an organization suspending him for games because his life was going to be made better and his family's life was going to be made better. He's coming from a situation where these types of opportunities wouldn't have been available for him. So there's no nobility in the NCAA being a bunch of pricks either. So if we're going to judge James, we got to judge the NCAA. Now, the NCAA, it's just they have no brains. So this is the best player in college basketball. They suspend him. They don't want him in their league. Now they're basically pushing him out of the league. In his eyes, that's what he's thinking. And now all of us get a chance. We don't get the chance to see this kid play in college basketball, which I think we all wanted. So for me, I'm happy for James Wiseman. I hope it works out. I'm happy for this agent, by the way, who sunk his teeth into this kid this early and got him to quit school. I mean, I'm not happy. That was all sarcasm. I think that's kind of ridiculous. But if James Wiseman wants to be in the NBA, and James Wiseman's going to be the number one pick in the NBA draft, why waste your time only playing in a division and in a conference and in a league for a ruling body that doesn't really appreciate or respect you? I think this is the right move by James Wiseman. I'm happy for him. And I hope he goes number one in the NBA draft. I hope he does well, and I hope he goes on to make millions and millions of dollars. And anybody that says anything different, I think are just idiots.
Yeah, and very well said. And the biggest issue is that his hands were tied. Like, he had no choice. He only played 3 games at Memphis, averaged 20 points and 11 rebounds. They basically just stole an entire year for him because they were saying, well, Memphis should have known coming in that there were going to be these kind of allegations. Mark Emmert, the president of the NCAA, said recently that he's profoundly concerned about the lack of trust the public has in the NCAA, and I wonder if that's because situations like this are coming out now and you got guys going overseas and they're still top 5 picks in the NBA draft, or if it's because people have been calling him a tone-deaf ass clown for the last 20 years, and he's finally he just can't handle it anymore. But honestly, what like if you're a guy coming out of college now and you see like LaMelo Ball, who is projected to be a top 5 pick, why do you not go overseas, get some culture, get a new experience, get paid while you're doing it, and not have to worry about all this jurisdictional red tape that you'd have to deal with in the NCAA?
Now, I'm not saying that, by the way, very well said there, and Mark Emmert just being an ass clown for all these years and just finally realizing that I think the public is lacking trust in the NCAA. Yeah. Well, no, I can't say the word. I mean, this guy is an idiot. No, he's probably done a lot of great things. Let's assume that, and this is always the argument that people have for the NCAA, is like, well, not all sports generate cash. And the NCAA protects all the athletes that don't get a chance to live their high-profile spotlight. I get it. Like, I understand that the NCAA has some good in them. I believe they've done good for people. But whenever they try to dig into situations like this just to directly hurt somebody, which is what they did to James, they directly tried to hurt this kid for something that they didn't have to. Nobody would have came after them if they didn't punish this person. This is strictly the NCAA being a bunch of pricks. And I think that's the big problem that everybody has. It's like, why are you going out of your way to do this? Like, if you were just to be like, nah, this was years ago, this is something his family and he made a decision to make their lives, like, that's just, you don't have to do it. Whenever you insert yourself into things that you don't have to and the people say you don't have to, that's when everybody just starts saying you're stupid. And the NCAA has been doing that for a long, long time. And now, who's the guy, the dad of that Ball family?
Yeah, LeVar Ball.
LeVar Ball. He wanted to start that G League or whatever where guys can come get paid or whatever. And just like the Triple B's, like that's going to fail. And it's not his fault. It's very hard to run a league that's going to have sponsorships and TV deals. And you're going to need a lot of people to do that. But at some point, that's going to happen. And I'm not saying LeVar Ball is the guy that's going to do it. But at some point, these young entrepreneurs, which basketball players are, by the way, social media has created entrepreneurs. That's what it is. A 6-year-old garnered $26 million last year from YouTube. I mean, social media has generated an entire generation of entrepreneurs who know that they can make money, know that content is a real asset in this world that we're in right now. And it's only a matter of time before these basketball players, these young basketball players who dominate Instagram, dominate social media feeds with their incredible feats of athleticism, it's only a matter of time before they decide to come together and create a league of their own. I mean, it's only a matter of time. And I think every dumb decision that Mark Emmert makes pushes them closer to that. Will it ever be the NBA and the NCAA rule back on the guys can come right out of high school and go to the NBA? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the right thing anyways. I think a developmental league of some sort for a year is probably the right move, I think, for all parties. Because now, granted, there's aliens and anomalies, like LeBron going straight out, obvious, right? There's a couple guys like that every single year, like one or two guys where, like, yeah, they should go. But then you got a lot of people who probably have a lot of misdirection and misguidance that are telling them they should go and won't go. So I think a developmental league for a year isn't a bad idea if the guys can make some money. And it's going to take a very strong-willed group of McDonald's All-Americans to come together and do that and decide that, hey, no more are we going to go do this NCAA runaround where we can't take $1 at this. We can't do that. And they'll be able to sign autographs, I guess, here in a couple of years for some bucks. But this entrepreneur generation that we have currently, I think is going to flip the NCAA on its head. And it's already starting to happen. The NCAA is starting to feel the heat. Mark Emmert's finally admitting that there's a lack of trust with the NCAA. I mean, he's about 10 years too late. But just like I said with the NBA and the season, how the tide is turning on them, the tide has turned on the NCAA. They know it, and I think all the players know it too. And as soon as these young high school basketball players can realize that they have real value, real worth, and if they were to just go do games, I mean, I went to a game. What's that place called down there at Benedum? What's the arena in Pittsburgh?
Oh boy,
where
AJ Palumbo?
Yeah, I think I watched LeBron in that St. Vincent St.
Mary's.
What was it?
St. Vincent St. Mary's.
Yeah, I watched St. Vincent St. Mary's against the Pennsylvania All-Stars. The entire state of Pennsylvania played against just LeBron's high school, which is now his business team. I watched that place was sold out. That arena was sold out. If those kids were to put together some sort of all-star tour or something like that, they could sell tickets all over the place. They could prepare. They could have NBA scouts there. You could probably have ex-NBA coaches coaching them, and the NCAA could be in trouble. Now, I think there is a benefit to going and learning from the great coaches of college, even though I think Krzyzewski is lost. I don't know if he still got it, but I think there is some benefit to going to college, but I think it's only a matter of time for these entrepreneurs and these kids that dominate social media and the content game create their own thing and go sell tickets everywhere. The Ball family gave it a go. I think they were just too insufferable. The dad was just too insufferable for everyone to get on board with that. But I think at some point that's going to happen.
Well, and it's just so short-sighted, too, that, like, these kids can't take some money to, like, get a meal or, like, you know, in Wiseman's case, like, tuition for high school, and Mark Emmert's making $4 million a year. It's like, well, you know, there's got to be some give and take there. I mean, you're never going to win if that's the case.
Yeah, because I had a lot of teammates of mine that they went to West Virginia. They came straight out of the streets. We're talking about guys that sold drugs. We're talking about guys that come from parts of neighborhoods that you only hear about in documentaries and movies if you don't live there, where gangs run everything. And these guys' only hope were sports. And their family couldn't provide them with damn near anything. And then they get to school and you get a scholarship check, but that scholarship check is only for your housing and your food, right? So these guys, if they want to do anything with their life, they really can't, because they can't ask for money from anybody unless they're asking money from the wrong people, right? If it's drug dealers back at home or whatever it is, because their families don't have any money. If they were to get money from boosters, like Reggie Bush got, for instance, I'm not saying Reggie Bush is from the neighborhood. I don't know his background. But if they were to get money from somebody to live in a nice apartment, a nice place that the scholarship check him, to go shopping, to do all these things, while they're earning West Virginia University and these universities millions and millions of dollars, it's very hard to still be on the side where it's like, yep, they shouldn't be able to do that. Nope. They should know better that when they signed that scholarship and they got that education, that's really going to take them far in life because they can focus on a really good degree because they don't have football 10 hours a day every single day. So they can really focus on becoming doctors and engineers, things that will really pay them instead of just trash degrees because they come from an education system that isn't worth a damn anyways. So these guys barely know how to do anything. They have great street smarts, great common sense, but when you're talking about being book smart and things like that, these guys haven't had the opportunity to do so. And whenever they get a handout, now the NCAA is like, nope, get them the hell out of here. You can't do that in our league. It's like, are you really trying to help people? Or are you just trying to help yourself? And that's the question that a lot of people ask the NCAA. And I think it's very easy to see how people think that if you're outside looking in. But for me, in my experience, and the guys that I got to befriend and play football with and see where they come from and meet their families and see what they've gone back to because they didn't make it to the NFL, it's something where I just find it very hard to still be on the side where you think that they shouldn't be able to get a little bit of assistance.
Well said. Very well
just
said.
Absolutely well said.
That's what we do here. That's what we do here. All right, we got to get to a break. I believe my AirPods are dying. That's good. I believe the phone's potentially dying. The computer's dying. But we will wrap up this hour 2 of this Feel Good Friday, December 20th, with Diggs' locks, Knicks franchise, Friday flashback, and all other things that we could potentially dive into. I think we'll even try another phone call if we can. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. You're the absolute greatest. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
At some point in their life, 52% of all men will experience erectile dysfunction, but most of them never get treated. Now there's Roman, the digital health clinic for men. With Roman, you can get genuine medication prescribed by a U.S. licensed physician, all from the comfort of your home. If medication is right for you, Roman delivers it with free 2-day shipping and in discreet packaging. Get started with a free online visit today at GetRoman.com/TV. Roman, let's take care of it.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had to go to the phone. Laptop stopped working, so did my AirPods. But this is where we've been doing this entire show from here. There's Evan Foxy holding it down on the backside. There's all the other people's trash over there on the side. We had to clean it up before we got started. Not a bad day here in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. Feel Good Friday, December 20th, 2019. Obviously here for the Boca Bowl tomorrow, 3:30 ABC. Watch that instead of the Bills-Patriots, obviously. Hey-o. All right, Diggs. There are 3 Saturday NFL games that I will not be able to watch until Sunday, and I am incredibly bummed out about it. Will you please tell us who we should be gambling on this weekend with all of the NFL games at stake?
The 3 Saturday games, I am going the Houston Texans -3 at Tampa Bay. No Godwin, no Mike Evans. Jameis is banged up. If the Texans win this weekend, they clinch the South. So they've got motivation. They don't want to play next week for the South against the Titans. So Texans -3, I believe, is a pretty heavy lock there.
Hammer that thing. I think in the Bruce Arians offense, no risk it, no biscuit. You got to throw the ball up. Jameis has had a much better year than I think anybody could expect. I don't get me back in camera. Jeez. I just got a cramp in the forearm. I think this is a bet that you absolutely hammer for the Texans. And I like what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have done this year. I think a lot of people called Bruce Arians a bit of a crazy person. Mm-hmm. But for me, let me get me in front of the mic. For me, this is a lock for the Texans if they can get it together. This feels like a game Deshaun Watson's about to really pop off, and I'm excited to watch it on Sunday because I'm going to be in prep for the Boca Bowl in Boca Raton, Florida at 3:30 on ABC.
Next game, Bills +6.5 at the New England Patriots. We've talked about this. 2 incredible defenses. So the game is going to be who can make a play on offense. You said it earlier. I think Josh Allen's the one who can make a play on offense. I'm taking the Bills +6.5. Low-scoring game. Give me the Bills +6.5.
Damn it. I like that. We also like the under, right? Those are 2 bets for that game. We like
and it's actually and it's actually moved up to 37.5. So snuck a point there.
Pats are going to figure it out. This is the weekend, boys. This is the weekend.
The night game tomorrow night is the Rams +6.5 at the San Francisco 49ers. If we're being honest here, I do not have a good feeling about this one, but I would crush myself if I took the Rams and then they got blown out by the 49ers, which 49ers are playing for the 1 seed still. Oh, yeah. And then the Rams, they have to have the Vikings lose twice to get in. Motivation, who knows? I'm going to take the Niners there if you're putting it on me.
Now, the Rams still have a chance to make it if the Vikings lose out, which is an interesting thing. Sean McVay can tell his team, we still have a lot to play for because primetime Kirk Cousins, although he got a Pro Bowl snub, could potentially lose these next 2 games. I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying he could. And if they do and the Rams win out, they're in all of a sudden. But this feels like a game where the Niners are going to go and get it. I mean, George Kittle's an absolute savage. That defense, I think Richard Sherman's back. I'm not 100% sure.
Yes,
I think he's back. And that's going to make a big difference because they were banged up in the games that they lost. I like the Niners as well because there's a lot on the line. Making everybody come through Santa Clara is a lot different than having to travel out of San Francisco every single week in the playoffs. I like the Niners as well in this particular case. Good for you, Diggs.
Another big one is Saints at Titans on Sunday. Saints are -2.5. Saints are still trying to get that home field advantage through the playoffs. Titans are trying to win to get in the 6th seed of the AFC. I just think the Saints are on a roll right now, even though they lost 2 weeks ago, but their offense is just on an absolute tear right now. I don't think the Titans are going to be able to keep up, so I'm going with the Saints -2.5 there.
I thought that'd be a bigger spread, to be honest, with how the Saints have been playing, especially coming after that ass beating that they just handed out to the Colts. Now, they get one less day of rest. Which I guess is a pretty big deal, especially when you're talking about old Drew Brees, even though he's gotten a 4-game break this particular season. I like the Saints to beat the Titans as well, but the Titans are playing for their livelihood, and they lost a game that they think they probably should have won.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a block kick away from sending that thing to overtime, interception on the goal line that was a catch and then got knocked out. I mean, the Titans thought they should have won that game against the Texans, I assume. Vrabel almost fought a ref afterwards. They got a lot to play for. That's going to be a close game, so 2.5 is probably accurate, but I like Drew Brees as well. But the Titans are playing for their livelihood. I would not bet this game. I would not bet this game at all. I have no idea what's going to happen.
I don't know if we're in agreement on this game or not, but for the NFC East, the NFC East Championship, Dallas is -1.5 at the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going Dallas -1.5. 3 weeks ago, the Eagles lost to the Dolphins, and then they had to take the Giants to overtime, and then they had to have a miracle comeback last week against the Redskins. They're just not playing good. Their entire wide receiver core is out. Their secondary is terrible. Dak's health is up in question, but I still like the Cowboys here -1.5.
Nah. Oh, wait, am I sideways?
Yeah.
Oh,
There
there
it is.
Hey!
Yeah.
That's on me.
You like the Birds?
Listen, I was on the Cowboys. I wore a bolo tie in New York because the Cowboys were the NFC East champions. And then Troy Aikman is about to be a general manager, is now Adam Schefter, and he's breaking news. Not only does Dak Prescott have a sprained shoulder and hasn't thrown a ball all week, has not thrown a ball yet in practice. He seemed confident and very comfortable in his post-practice press conference yesterday. I watched that last night after the basketball game. He said that he's had this injury, a sprained shoulder in college and stuff like that. But they were doing jumping jacks. They were showing him doing jumping jacks. He wasn't even moving his arm. I'm not sure he can rotate the stick right now. I am not sure he can rotate the stick. And that's a big problem, especially against a Philadelphia Eagles team that is a known bad secondary, but a number 3 overall rush defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I like Zeke. I like the offensive line for the Cowboys, but I think Dak, not only having a sprained shoulder, but a fractured finger, okay? A fractured finger. And yes, I understand how minuscule that might sound, but as a passing quarterback, a guy who's been very, very good, he's going to have to wear a glove. He can't rotate the stick, and he might not be able to grip a ball. I think it's very hard to say that I'm still on the Cowboys. I think the Eagles love this underdog position that they're in. This is very similar to what they were a couple of years ago. Very different team. Carson Wentz has had to carry this squad on his back, but he's been doing so. Now, you mentioned a couple losses like a week ago or whatever, but they seem to have been getting a bit hot there towards the end of that Redskins game. They've played with 0 plays with the lead in the last 2 weeks of one. 0 plays. Last-minute wins for both of them. That's something that can really motivate a team, but I don't like that Dak Prescott has not thrown a ball. He has a sprained shoulder and a fractured finger. I like Dak Prescott. I think he's a great football player. I like Kellen Moore. I think he can design good plays to throw the ball. But for me, if your guy can't throw the ball, who are you going to have? Cooper Rush? You have Cooper Rush throw the ball?
Don't let him get hot.
Evan Foxy played basketball against Cooper Rush in high school. He said he was a double-double machine. The guy was an athlete, could get underneath. He could throw the ball. But I know nothing about him other than the fact that Foxy yanked him. That's all I know. All I know is that Foxy yanked on him. And will he be able to perform as well as Dak if he has to, if Dak can't throw the ball? They said they're going to test him out today to see if he can throw the ball. It's Friday. I've seen a quarterback who had a hurt shoulder.
Oh, boy.
Okay? It's a very different world whenever you have that hurt shoulder. It's just I wore the bolo. I was on the Cowboys. I was excited to be a member of the Cowboys Nation because we're forced to talk about the Cowboys every single day. But now Troy Aikman's got to be the bearer of bad news
I feel like all of a sudden the tide has turned for the Eagles, and this is one that they could potentially get.
Yeah, my pick was more of an anti-Eagles pick more than it was a pro-Cowboys pick. I just don't trust the Eagles. But the final game, Sunday night, 8:20, we have the Kansas City Chiefs going to the Chicago Bears. Chiefs are 6-point favorites. This is a lean towards the Chiefs. It's going to be a hammer the Chiefs. If the Bills upset the Patriots and that opens a spot for the 2 seed, this is going to be a hammer the Chiefs on Sunday night so they could get the 2 seed.
Lot to play for if the Bills beat the Patriots, which, by the way, I don't know if it's still – it was at plus 230 for moneyline Bills over Patriots. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I think I like them plus 6.5. I don't know if the money line's going to happen. But if the Chiefs have that on the line, playing against that Bears team, who, although they have come into their own here in the last month or so, I guess they've played good football, but they've been nothing short of disappointing. With the Kansas City Chiefs defense starting to really play well, Honey Badger has a bigger chip on his shoulder than he's ever had because he got a Pro Bowl snub. I mean, this could be a blowout for the Chiefs, honestly. This could be Bear big time. God. Come on. Zito, you don't have a microphone over there?
No, I did. I just tried to creep into the shot right there behind Tony. If you saw me, snuck into the shot. Ready?
Oh, you want to get that face on TV, but right now when you're speaking, you don't. I respect that. All right, so those are your lock sticks?
Well, those the Chiefs, or sorry, the Texans was one of my locks. Hold on, let me pull it up. I lost.
No.
The Texans and Cowboys were one of my locks. And then I love the Broncos against the Lions because the Lions stink right now.
Yeah, I agree.
And then
the Broncos, hey, the Broncos got a guy.
Oh, yeah, they got a guy.
They got a guy. Now, he's going to make some rookie mistakes, and he's going to be not going to be hot every single – but they got a guy. I think John Elway finally found the quarterback, that kid quarterback, the Broncos. Imagine if Joe Flacco didn't end up in the outhouse. We never get to this situation with Mr. Locke right now for the Broncos. They might have found a guy for the future in this kid.
Well, Flacco's going to Flacco, so he was always determined to be in the outhouse.
Yeah, but Flacco, for the first time in his entire life, was a leader. First time in his entire life was an outspoken leader, and all of a sudden, bang, you're gone, IR, get the hell out of here, says John Elway.
Hey, and then I got a hammer situation. How's the weather there in Boca?
Well, I guess it's overcast. I mean, it is. There's no sun down here. It's like Indiana right now, but they said the rain is not 100% for tomorrow during the game, but it is going to be, I believe, a little bit breezy.
Well, yeah, breezy. Close to you in the Bahamas, 30-mile-an-hour winds, over 40-mile-an-hour gusts today, so they're going to run the ball. Buffalo, great running team. You take those, University of Buffalo, BU, I'm not sure which way it goes, minus the 6.5.
UB.
Buffalo Bulls, right?
UB. Yeah, they are the Bulls.
Who are they playing against?
They are playing against Charlotte.
Oh, I didn't know they had a football team. I would go.
I think it's
and I'm a college football analyst. I would go with. I like that. Hey, I like that deep analysis. That's the type of stuff that makes money right there.
Oh, yeah,
that's the type of stuff that makes money. They're not going to be able to throw the ball down there. Steve Levy's going to be calling that game. The voice of the Bahamas Bowl. I thought I was going to potentially get to call that game. By the way, that was a little bit of a banana in a tailpipe text. I think I got. Hey, would you want to do the Bahamas Bowl? Yeah. Oh, sorry, can't. Okay, thank you. I'll do the Boca Bowl instead. I like that analysis there, Diggs. Thank you for that. I hope we all make money with our sexy bets from Tone Diggs. Let's get back to the final two. Flashback Friday franchise changers from Nick. This first two were Le'Veon Bell just 9 months ago was supposed to turn around the New York Jets with Sam Darnold. That didn't happen. Obviously, he only has 676 yards from scrimmage this year. And Antonio Brown was supposed to turn around the Raiders and the Patriots offense just 9 months ago. That didn't happen. Who are the other two that were supposed to change franchises, and it just hasn't panned out in such a short time, Frank?
Number 4 on the list is Nick Foles, signed big money in Jacksonville from Philadelphia. He wins the Super Bowl in Philly. He's the local hero. Comes on Jacksonville, breaks his collarbone. What was that, week 2, early on the season? Week 1, yeah. It just hasn't happened. And then Gardner Minshew comes in and steals all the thunder.
Yeah, but they're not going to get a single other player down there. They better hope they draft good. Because that NFLPA statement about 25 – now, granted, they got rid of Tom Coughlin and all that stuff, but they're going to have to fire Doug Marrone. That's going to be a complete rebuild. And hopefully it's around Minshew Mania, but nobody knows what they're going to do with Nick Foles. Who's going to take Nick Foles? We have no idea. Anybody else, Frank?
Yeah, number 5 on the list. The Dolphins trading for Josh Rosen. There was so much hope, so much promise. Maybe he can right the ship. maybe we can resurrect Josh's career here in Miami, and it was just a complete dud.
Fins up, pal.
We all knew after they signed Ryan Fitzpatrick to that, and then they traded for Rosen after that. What they thought Rosen was going to be able to touch Fitzpatrick. They thought he was going to see the field. The only people that were talking about that were some members of the media who didn't really watch the film in Arizona of Rosen. Because, I like Josh Rosen as a human. I think he's got a lot of swagger. That guy has not done anything to prove that he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. It's probably over for him. He's going to do well, though. He seems like a smart guy. He's got it all together. He had a hot tub in his dorm room. I can respect that. All right, well, this has been the show here on this Feel Good Friday. Wow. This entire week has been one that's been just a spectacle. We had Hugh Jackson on the freaking show yesterday. It's insane to me. Sorry to Andre Reed. The tech just couldn't figure it out. We'll have him on next week. I can't wait to talk to him about the Buffalo Bills and the 4 falls that he got to experience. And did the Buffalo Bills just beat the Patriots on Sunday? That's what I'll ask you. Boston Connor, your final take. You're going to be in the building. What happens when the Buffalo Bills beat the Patriots this weekend, if it happens?
If it happens, it'll be madness, but it's not going to happen again. The Patriots offense is going to figure it out this weekend. Edelman, Dorsett, N'Keal Harry, give me 40 points. That's why the over's going up, is because Vegas knows the Pats are going to pull it out.
Everybody has said that they're going to figure out, including myself, and it just feels like they might not. And that Buffalo Bills defense is not the team that you're probably going to figure it out on. They've made very good offenses look very average. I'm excited for the weekend of games down here in Boca Raton, the Boca Bowl. I can't thank you enough for listening and watching wherever you may be. To all the boys back there, including Zito, hell of a job today, boys. I appreciate you.
Hell of a job from you, pal.
Hey, this has been a fun one. Me and Foxy have been just tearing down this conference room. I think I had the flu, so I'm going to go vomit. But I hope everybody that's listening has the greatest weekend of their entire life. If you go on FanDuel and hammer the bets that Diggs gets you, I hope you get a lot of money for the holiday season. Aside from that, this has been kind of fun today. Questions from the other show, Boca Raton, franchise, throwback, all of that. This has been the Pat McAfee Show. You're the greatest. Have the best weekend ever.